Welcome to this Airsports live tracking tutorial. We will show you how to set up a competition, create a navigation task, and assign contestants to the task. To use live tracking or to compete in a flying competition, you only need to download the app Airsports Live Tracking, which you can find in the Google Play Store or Apple App Store. The first time you open the app, you will be asked to input and verify your email. Make sure that you use an email which you can access from your phone. Next, you will be asked to complete your profile by entering a name, aircraft registration and your phone number. If you wish, you can also upload a profile picture. We recommend using a vertical profile picture with a transparent background. This gives the best visual presentation in the competition. The registration will be automatically updated and verified on the Airsports server. When you have finished registration, you must choose a subscription depending on what suits you. This will activate the possibility of live tracking. Before you go flying and turn on the tracking, you must choose between competition or leisure mode. In competition mode, your name is displayed on the competition map, but on the global map it will show only the aircraft registration number. Since you typically do your leisure flying in a variety of aircraft, we have made it easy for you to change the registration of your aircraft directly from the tracking page when in leisure mode. The aircraft registration appears on the global map and the position is updated every 5 seconds. If you do not have a minimum speed or there is more than 20 seconds since the last update, your aircraft icon will be grey or transparent on the global map. This is to provide others with information if you, for example, are on the ground and forget to turn off tracking. It is therefore important to manually turn off the tracker when the flight is finished. The app has a safety feature that will turn off tracking automatically after 12 hours, but help yourself by helping others and turn off your tracker after use. Please remember that Airsports Live Tracking is for entertainment users only and is not intended as a security alert, although the live tracking can provide useful information if used correctly. Remember that the app requires both mobile coverage and GPS coverage. Enjoy your flight. As an organizer, you can create competitions directly in Airsports Live Tracking or with the help of Flight Contest. Here, we will show you how to create a competition with airsports.no. Start by logging in. This requires a username and password, and you can use the same email address as you used in the app. Just click Forgot Password on the login page to set a password for website access. Creating competitions requires organizer privileges. Just send us an email at support@airsports.no and we will set you up. Once you have the required privileges, you will see a cog icon at the top of the events menu that gives you access to the administrative pages. On the contest list page, start by choosing a new contest. Choose a contest name, the local time zone, start and finish times of the competition. A contest will still work after the finish time. These dates mainly control how it is displayed on the global map. Choose whether it should be public and available on the global map, or whether it is private for training or competition for private use. Enter the coordinates of where the competition will be in terms of visibility on your map. Select a nice header image, a logo, and whether the results should be sorted in an ascending or descending order. We use descending because we use penalty points for most competitions. Once you are happy with everything, click Submit. Inside the competition, you can delete it, clear all recorded results, give friends access to view and or modify the competition if you want to share the competition setup. You can also update the competition details, for example if you want to change the status from private to public. The two last choices is to create a new navigation task or view the list of teams. Let's start by creating a new navigation task. Choose the type of the competition you like. Precision flying, ANR corridor, which is air navigation racing, poker run, a special kind of event we explain later, or a landing competition. For this tutorial, we start with a precision flight. On the next page, we see that we need a KML file and that the route inside the KML file is a path called route. We also have the option to add a takeoff and landing gate, and we can also include forbidden areas. Let's create a new route in Google Earth. We start by locating the area of the competition, and we create a new folder under My Locations inside Google Earth. We then click the path icon so that we can draw the route as a path. Start by identifying the starting point for the navigation task and clicking this. Remember that the first leg of the competition should go in the direction away from the airport. This is because the starting point has an invisible infinite starting line, so make sure that the start point can't be crossed en route from the airport. After this, just select a suitable path for the competition, depending on your level of difficulty. If you want to add a secret gate, tap the turning point in front of where you want this, before zooming into this area and making a marker on the path. Make sure that the path does not alter its direction and there is a straight line from the previous turning point to the next through the secret gate. When everything is ready, save the path name as route. If you want a takeoff gate or a landing gate, repeat the process, but remember that they must be located where you are sure they will be crossed by the competitors. This should be named TO for takeoff and LDG for landing. Note that for the landing and takeoff gates, we draw the actual gates instead of the path as we did for the navigation route. If you want to add forbidden areas such as control zones or other areas where the aircraft should not enter, create a polygon. Choose the area you want to add, choose the color and transparency for your own convenience, and save the polygon as prohibited underline followed by the name of the forbidden area without any spaces. You can make several of these if you want. Make sure that all these items are placed inside the folder you created to begin with. A quick tip here is if you create multiple tasks as folders, then you can just drag and drop prohibited areas or takeoff or landing gates into the folder you want to save as a route, and then reuse them for multiple tasks if desired. Make sure everything is checked, right-click on the folder and select Save Place As. You can choose between KMZ or KML, we support both. After saving the file, we return to the Airsports webpage where we will upload them. Here you select the newly created file in the File Form Upload box and press Submit. The next page allows you to edit the properties of the turning points you created when you did the path in Google Earth. You can provide names to the various turning points and select whether they should be regular turning points, starting points or secret gates. Remember that in our example, turning point 5 was a secret gate. I will therefore change this to SG5 for secret gate 5 and change type to secret point. Now the gate will be invisible to the contestants. Note that the example map on the right side is a static map of the path you drew in Google Earth, so this is not updated by any changes made in the form. Once you are happy with your edits, press Submit. Similar to a contest, a navigation task needs a name and a start and finish times. And also similar to competitions, the start and finish times are management tools, and it is possible to fly the navigation task outside of the time interval. You then choose whether the task should be public or not. You can hide the task from the public while you're preparing a contest. In my example, we will be creating a training task, so I will keep it not public to hide it from the general public. Note that both the contest and the navigation task has to be public for the navigation task to be visible. The scorecard contains the basic set of rules for the chosen navigation task, and here we choose the FAI Precision 2020 scorecard. I opt not to put any wind in my example and rather put it on each individual team when I add them. Choose the time required from takeoff to reaching the starting point and the time from the last gate to reach the landing site. It is important that you give enough time for the contestants to get back and forth. Finally, we choose whether the map should be displayed in the background, and yes, we want to show the map on the tracking page. Click Submit. Finally, on this last page, we can choose whether to use standard FAI penalty rules or override certain rules with our own. Here we want to use the standard FAI rules, so we just click Submit. The new precision flying route is ready. Let us see how we can use the existing route we created for a precision flight to create an air navigation race. From the competition details page, choose New Navigation Task and then choose ANR Corridor. Upload the same route file as we used for precision flying and choose whether you want rounded or straight corners. I prefer round corners. You enter the name of the task, the start and finish times as before, select the rules, as well as any wind you want to set up for the navigation task. Minutes to starting point and minutes to landing site is as for the precision flight. And yes, here we also want to show the map in the background. On the next page, where we can override certain parameters, we choose the corridor width, the grace time, which is the amount of seconds we can be outside of the corridor before we get a penalty, and we set the corridor width to 0.5 nautical miles. The rest I leave as is. The remaining parameters describe how many penalty points we will get per second we are outside of the corridor, the maximum penalty per leg, and if this is below 0, there is no maximum penalty. If we set it to, for instance, 200, then this will be the maximum we get per leg outside of the corridor. Grace time for the start and finish points is the number of seconds you can miss the crossing time without accruing any penalty. And finally, you can set how many penalty points you get if you miss the start or finish gate entirely. That's it. Now we have made an air navigation race. Just note that with rounded corners there must be more than 1 nautical mile between the turning points, otherwise you will get a warning. Before you can have anyone compete in a navigation task, you have to add the team to the competition. You do this by selecting Team List from the competition details page and then Add Team at the bottom of the page. We recommend that all participants register with the Airsports Live Tracking app before doing this. The participants will then be in the system already, and we just need to search for existing people. When I start typing the name, it automatically gives me suggestions and I can choose the correct person to participate. If I have found the one I'm looking for, I can click Use Existing Pilot, otherwise I will have to create a new pilot. The next step is to choose a co-pilot or navigator, or skip this entirely if you do not need one. On the third page you type in your aircraft registration number. If the aircraft is not in the list, it is automatically added to the list. Which flying club do you represent? And which country we represent. Finally, we select the desired speed. This can also be changed in the task, but it will be preset by what we enter here, so I select 70 knots. You also select the type of tracking you want, whether you want to use the Pilots app, the Co-Pilots app, or a separate hardware GPS tracker. In the last case, you need to enter the tracking ID of the device, but for most cases, it is sufficient to use the apps. Once the navigation task has been added and you have added the teams that will compete in the task, it is time to assign these teams to the task itself. Open the task and you have two options for creating contestants. The fastest option is to select Add Contestants from the top menu. Here you will get all contestants. You can select those that will participate and set parameters for separation in time and any delays between aircraft switching and so on. This feature will schedule all the selected teams so that aircraft will not overtake each other. There will be no overlap between multiple teams using the same aircraft, and so on. Once the scheduling is complete, we get a nice timeline overview of when the different teams will be competing, and we're ready to go. If you want to change something for a contestant, you can click the name in the contestant list, which will give you detailed control of the timing for that contestant. If you want to create a contestant manually, we select New Contestant at the bottom of the contestant list. The participant number we can leave as default. Select the desired team from the list of teams. The tracker start time is the time when the tracking device will be associated with that contestant. If multiple participants use the same app or same tracker, we must be sure that they do not overlap in time, otherwise there will be a conflict which will result in an error message when you try to save the contestant. So here we choose the date and time for when we want to start flying. We skip tracking device and ID, since this is done automatically when selecting the live tracking app. Select departure time. If this is difficult to know due to the traffic at the airport, choose a time in front of expected departure and select adaptive start. Then the time starts when the aircraft passes the start point. But remember that the start is based on the nearest full minute, so the contestant must still use a master watch to calculate the start point entry. Finished by time is the time where you must have crossed the finish gate, and it also controls your link to the tracking device. Because I use my own app and I do not have any penalty for the landing gate or start gate, I choose to give myself plenty of time if I have any delays, so I choose a time in the evening. With adaptive start, I have great flexibility to fly the route between start time and finish time. Here I can also adjust needed time to start gate, my desired flying speed and wind information. This is how easy it is to add a contestant, and we are now ready to fly the task. An extra feature we have added to make things easier for ourselves is the ability to automatically generate navigation maps for the task. Do this by selecting the map link to the right of the desired contestant. You can choose between different layouts of the map, landscape or portrait, and if you are unsure of the exact area of your competition, choose the OSM mapping option, which has global coverage. For my case here in Norway, I choose the Norway N250 maps. For a competition, the contestants must calculate course and minute marks themselves and annotate the map manually. If you want to do this, remove Include annotations. I want to be ready for flying, so I keep this selected. DPI can be kept at 300 unless you have very strict printing requirements. Line thickness is as you prefer, but something between 0.5 and 1 is a good number. Color depends on the background map you have, so select something that gives you a good contrast. An organizer should therefore test different variants to get the best results. For output, choose image or PDF. The PDF version may be slightly easier to print in the correct scale. Press submit, and after a few seconds your map should be ready. To print the map in the correct scale, select an image editor which can print full scale according to margins on the sheet. We have included a ruler on the map so you can measure if the scale is correct. But in my example, where the map is ready to go, I can just print it on my local printer. It does not matter if there is a little deviation, since it will be used for flying and not measuring. This is all you need to know to create your own contests and go flying. On the navigation task page, you will find a link to the track in the top menu. This you can share with your friends and they can follow you live when you're flying. The map can also be displayed on a big screen TV or used in front of the audience to create more interest to our sport. Here you get the live score, an estimate of how the contestants are doing, and the latest gate passings. You can also click on the individual contestants to see their results along with a team presentation. The organizer should therefore ensure that the teams have representative photos. We recommend vertical profile pictures with a transparent background. Welcome to the new way of precision flying with Airsports live tracking. We do not charge you extra for this, the system is open to everyone. The app costs a minimum to cover our costs and avoid abuse. Overall, we do this to revolutionize our sport. Good luck and see you in the next competition.